Article from the Daily Mail. Compton ambush on 2 deputies was a revenge attack against officers for recent police shootings against black men in LA. As Harrowing Dispatch calls, it's revealed a manhunt for 2 gunmen continues. 2 Los Angeles County deputies were ambushed by an unknown man at 7 p.m. on Saturday night while they sat in their patrol car. Fox News reporter William Juniz said Monday, quote, Los Angeles police will not say this publicly, but some people in this ambush was a retaliate. Some believe this ambush was a retaliation. Dion Kesey was shot and killed by LA sheriff deputies on August 31st. The city is also investigating the shooting death of an 18-year-old Andre Guardo. Officials have asked for help in identifying the gunman with a $175,000 reward. Harrowing Dispatch call reveals a shaky voice calling in the shooting. So here we can see a video of the gunman opening fire on the cops. It really sucks that people are just doing this. And this is Black Looter Mob that is perpetrating this. This is Black Looter Mob. Most people aren't aware, but there's about 20,000 homicides in the U.S. each year. About half of them are committed by African Americans. 54% of the victims are Black people. And 93% of Black people are killed by African Americans. To put that into perspective, there has been about 70 murders from neo-Nazis since the Oklahoma City bombing. There's 142 murders by African Americans from the Black Looter Mob. Then there's 142 for every single killing that a neo-Nazi does. That's insane. That's crazy. For every single Black person that a white person kills, a Black person kills 12 white people for every single Black person that's killed. They kill for every single Black person, or for every single person a white person kills, Black people kill 6. Sorry, hold on. You have to say African Americans, because the African immigrants are not like this. I mean, some of them are, of course. There's always criminals in every country, but the African immigrants are the highest paid group of immigrants in the country. So obviously, they're not experiencing the same discrimination that the African Americans are. And a lot of them came from a more impoverished background, like coming up with hardly anything compared to what you have. That's probably why they're doing so good. So you do have to be careful when you're criticizing African Americans or Black people, to make sure that you're criticizing the correct group, because not all Black people are the same. And they're also obviously not all criminals, but they have a lot of them. And they're mostly in big cities. Here's an image of the police officer, a woman who had been shot in the head, the face. So where was she shot at? The face. Says the Compton ambush on the 2 deputies might have been a revenge attack. 2 Los Angeles County Sheriff's deputies, one 31-year-old mother of a 6-year-old boy, another a 24-year-old man, were ambushed by an unknown man at 7 p.m. Saturday night while they sat in their patrol car at the Metro Blue Line station in Willow Avenue and Oak Street. Fox News reporter William LaJesusa said Monday the Los Angeles police will not say this publicly, but some believe the ambush was retaliation for, the bullets are pretty good at the top. I'm just looking for, because I just remember that she had been shot in the face, but I'm just trying to double check. Yeah, they were both shot in the face. I was just checking to make sure I said the right fact. That's just insane. Okay, so this next story is going to piss you off. Okay, so here is the reaction from some dude who this is what right
them
after
niggas
the
just got aired out, cuz. They just bust on them niggas, cuz. That's crazy. Damn. Oh, it goes down in Compton. Oh, they just got bust off. That nigga on a knee. Damn. Police just got aired out, nigga. They just...
It gets underneath my skin. They're standing there while someone's bleeding out, and they're just taking a video laughing about it. And then they claim it's discrimination when people don't want to hire them.
Just got bust on, nigga. They just got aired out. They just got aired out, nigga. It's going up. Somebody bust on their ass.
Yeah. 2 shares down.
Somebody bust on the police, nigga. Damn, nigga.
They respond.
Oh, 2 sheriffs shot in the face. 2 sheriffs shot in the face. They tripping. It's going up in Compton. Niggas bust on the police, nigga. Nigga, they just got aired out. Somebody ran up on the car and bust on their ass. Right through the window, in the face and all, nigga. It's a wrap.
Me personally, I would go over there and do whatever I could to help those people. I wouldn't be doing that. That person wasn't raised right. Definitely not discrimination if you don't want to hire him. In this next article from the Daily Mail, disgusting scenes outside of LA hospital as protesters, cops about 2 young county sheriffs fighting for their lives after being shot in a patrol car ambush, while Trump demands animal gunman is caught and put to death. Well, I'm confused. I thought they just said it was Compton. Oh, are those like LA and Compton are like kind of near each other? No, I thought Compton's near San Francisco. If you could comment below to inform everybody. I'm not exactly sure about California. The 2 deputies, 1 female and male officer with the Transit Service Bureau, were shot multiple times. A male suspect opened up fire on blah, blah, blah. So let's just go down to the video so you can just see how just disgusting these pigs are. Not the cops, the other people. They're disgusting.
And I want to deliver the message to the family of the kids. I hope they die. And I want to deliver the message to the family of the kids. I hope they die.
I don't know when I did my last ever lap of the Top Gear test track. I don't.
And I want to deliver the message to the family of the deceased. I hope they die. And I want to deliver the message to the family of the deceased.
That is disgusting. Those people need to be denied employment. You're legally allowed to discriminate against people for their ideas. They are, it's disgusting people like these black looter mobs. Let's go look at the map of LA and Compton. I'm just so confused as to why they're saying LA. This is why the show is cool, because I don't have a set script. So I like to look things up. Oops. Okay, so Compton is in Los Angeles. It's just one city that's in Los Angeles. And it's right there. I don't think we really need to go through this. If you want to read the article, you can check it out over there. I just think that that's just so disgusting. I think here we here's another story from the Daily Mail. It says revealed, protester who shot LA deputies as murderers and called the ambush the start of the retribution, met with Mayor Eric Garcetti this year to discuss cultural competency workshops. See, these are the people. Yeah, whenever you start okay, so this is how they sneak in. Okay, so most of these people don't have anywhere near good enough grades or to get a job in the ivory tower. So they sneak in through the HR department. What they do is they might have some study or a degree like African American studies, or African American studies or WAMAN studies. And so the only thing that they're actually qualified to do is in the ivory tower is to hire minorities and women to replace the white guys, because they say there's like too many white guys and that diverse teams are inferior to it's called the Doctrine of Diversity. It says that all white teams are inferior to teams with minorities and women. And the logical fallacy that they slipped down here is that they assumed that diversity is your skin color and or your gender. As it turns out, that is just nonsense. Diversity is about whether or not you think the same. If you've got a bunch of black people and women on the same team with white people, but they all act white, it's no more diverse than a team of all white people. Really, you want teams full of people who are from different cities, different towns, and that's how you're going to get a diversity of ideas, which is what you're after. So this is what they're talking about whenever they are saying that multiculturalism is bad, or what is the other thing that they call it? Critical race theory, where they're saying that cops are hunting down black people and there's systemic racism against white people, so we have to take their white privilege. They're all intertwined into this. What do you even call it? It's batshit crazy. It's lunatic land. That's the best way to describe it. It is Looney Town, and the Democrats are in a suicide cult. The women want to put off having children until they're 30 so that they could rise up to the top of the ivory tower. And women have to have 2 kids to continue on their genetic line. because there's a man and a woman. If you have one kid, it causes your population to collapse. And then if you have 3 kids, your genetic line grows. Pretty easy to do the math on that one, right? There's no half a kid there, right? So they're trying to switch the gender roles, because now about two-thirds, actually it's 60% of the college degrees now are held by women, and women now control almost 2/3 of the wealth in the United States, and they control 85% of consumer spending. And they have head start in college because they're hot, and all the guys want to hang out with them, and they have better attitudes towards education than other people, and they're beautiful. So they have a head, and then the guys want to buy them stuff. So they are getting ahead while the guys are going down the social ladder. And then you've got the critical race theory people with your doctrine of diversity trying to eliminate the white man to replace them with the minorities in women, because all white teams are inferior to them. And they all just kind of combine, and they just like infiltrate into the HR department. And next thing you know, they're getting rid of you because you're too old and you're white and you're a male. So this is the dangers of the multiculturalism. Really, it's the doctrine of diversity and critical race theory, and why it's extremely dangerous and why you should not support it, because it is, in fact, anti-white racism. It is ageism. It is sexism, all wrapped up into one poison pill. So let's see what this guy, well, let's read the bullet points here. I'll up here. Activist Kevin Warren Price of the Africa Town Coalition celebrated the Saturday shooting of two Compton deputies on the start of retribution. He uploaded several videos slamming the deputies as 2 of America's most notorious gang members and murderers. Where did they get this shit, dude? These guys aren't but they're not even like, what kind of cops did they say they were? Oh, yeah, they're still kind of cops, but they're like metro cop, or the transit cops. They're still cops, but they're not like city beat cops. He and other groups members consulted with LA Mayor Eric Garcia on cultural competency workshops earlier this year, because that's the only thing that they're qualified to do. And they think it's racism if you don't hire them for the privileged jobs for people who worked really, really, really hard and delayed gratification and didn't engage in bad behaviors like that. So they're a scapegoat because they don't know these people. If they knew these people, they would say, this person obviously tried way harder than me, and he or she deserves that job, or whatever other gender you want to call yourself. But then if you gave them the job, they would say that you're hitting me with too much work because you're being racist and you're just trying to get rid of me. So there's no way to win with these people. The only way to actually move on with life is to just get rid of all these critical race theory and doctrine of diversity people from the workplace, because they are toxic. They are glowing radioactive toxic, and they are a threat to your country, to your family, to you. So they must be removed from the workplace immediately. Price and others were allowed to enter as cops blocked off the hospital. Price and others weren't allowed to enter as cops blocked off the hospital. So here is the wingnut.
I was depressed. I ain't gonna lie. I was depressed by the murder of our brother Dejan, and there was another brother that just got murdered. I won't put his name out there a few days back, and so I've been depressed. But this right, because and so it's really been like I've been depressed. But this right here lightens my heart, right? Because the sheriff department has murdered too many of our brothers and sisters. Matter of fact, law enforcement throughout the country has murdered too many of our brothers and sisters. So if this is a start of retribution, then I think this is a very good start. And for those who may not like the tone and how I'm coming off and the smile that's on my face, well, I get tired of seeing mothers and fathers and sisters and brothers sad, okay, sad as because their family member has been dead, murdered by law enforcement, and I've gone out to too many scenes.
African Americans kill about 10,000 people per year. there's about 10,000, there's almost 11,000 African Americans murdered each year. 93% of them murdered by an African American. This is the biggest gripe that people have. Hold on. The riots are the biggest gripe that we have with BLM. But the other gripe that we have with them is that the reasons why they're having so many police interactions is because the poor people in the big cities engage in gangbanging, and they go around robbing people and killing people all the time. And when you look at the police statistics on a per police interaction level, police are half as likely to kill a black person as they are a white person. When you see these statistics that show that a third of the police killings are black people, and that this is double their population, it's bullshit. It's absolute bullshit. It's like they're also saying that black people get longer sentences in jail. The reason why is because the violence rate in the African American community is about 5 to 10 times, depending on which way you want to look at it, greater than the white community, which is way greater than the Asian community. I mean, the Asian community has like hardly any violence at all. So they're doing it, their community's doing it to themselves. I mean, yeah, sure, there's innocent people that are killed, but there's also 40,000 gun deaths in the United States each year. About half of them are accidental gun deaths. The vast majority of police officers, of course, you're going to be able to find some bad apple out of the bunch. Probably like some neo-Nazi KKK dude that just slipped through. It happens. It's a statistical probability that this is going to happen at some point in time. Shit, I forgot what I was saying. Statistical probability. They're trying to pretend like this is like a pervasive issue with the police brutality, but really it's just an accident. They're accidents. Hardly any cop, and you can pretty much just say like there are no cops out there that actually want to get into a gun battle and kill somebody or kill an innocent person that day. I would go as far as to say none of those cops who killed someone wanted to do that day. Maybe you're going to find one. Actually, we've got a story coming up for you here about a DEA agent who was working for the Colombian cartel. So we do actually have people working for cartels, and they have found KKK neo-Nazis working for law enforcement, but it's just so incredibly rare. These people just don't understand statistics. Vast majority of people don't understand statistics. I'm an engineer, so I know statistics. And once you start to learn about, you have to get like a sample size, and then there's a statistical probability that something's going to happen. And if you learn something about AI, you'll learn that there's this thing called the black swan paradox, where there's these random things that happen that you would never believe, like a black swan. And so these things happen, and these people are getting really, really, really upset about them. But what they don't understand is this is just the way the world is. If you programmed this in an AI model, you would also too find these things actually coming out of the blue, because there's so many different people that these behaviors emerge in almost any system. We have the same type of behavior of people exploiting the system and then damaging other entities and agents in the system. It's just a fact of the world. There's accidents, especially when cops have guns and they carry them everywhere. There's going to be accidental shootings. The only thing we can do is get these African Americans to stop killing people, and then most of this stuff will not happen. But they don't want to actually address the issue. Same thing with Democrats not wanting to address feminism. Feminism is a problem because it's causing women to put off having children till their 30s. Women need to have 2 kids to continue their genetic line. There's a man and there's a woman. If you have 1 kid, your genetic line shrinks. You have 2 kids, your genetic line does not grow, and you're at risk of one of them dying before they breed. So if you have 3 children, you're going to grow your genetic line. So the Democrats are in a suicide cult. They don't want to admit that feminism is stinky rotten to the core. Stinky like a hippie chick's pussy. Smells like tuna. True story. And they're refusing to deal with it. And so this is why they get so upset. They say it has to be the far right that's doing this, because it's the imaginary, it's the scapegoat. It's the imaginary misogynistic pig, boogeyman from MSNBC and the Southern Poverty Law Center, the one that mistreats and beats women, rapes them, locks them up, won't let them vote, won't let them have friends, won't let them go to school, won't let them work. And he puts burqas over them. And so this is the pattern they go on, is they don't accept the responsibility for their own actions. And then they scapegoat someone who is not there. Because if the person was actually there and you talk to them, you would realize that that person is innocent. But since they're never there, they can just make up whatever they want about them. And the left has whipped themselves up into a psychosis. And we have to stop them because they have gone officially cuckoo, cuckoo. You got like this guy. Here, let's finish this video.
Where the blood of our people have been on the cement, that I don't even want to do it no more, but I do it because I love the black family. But I'm going out there today, and I'm going to see what these gang-banging sheriff people who have probably been complicit in the murder of black people.
Police just got aired out, nigga. They just got bust on, nigga.
It'd be really nice if we could get that guy to feel like that about all of the murders committed by the African Americans. But it does seem as though this person does endorse murder. This is what you would call a genocidal maniac, typically. These are the kinds of people that would commit a genocide. Genocides don't happen in a vacuum. They happen through people being angry at another group of people wanting to kill them. This is why the Republicans are in the right and why the Democrats are absolutely in the wrong, because they are endorsing Black Looter Mob, which endorses killing cops. And they endorse hatred, hostility, and violence towards police officers, Donald Trump, and Trump supporters. And it's because that's their scapegoat. They live in an echo chamber, a groupthink echo chamber. Vast majority of Democrats live in big cities. All of these cities have a large amount of African Americans and Latinos in them. And so this is why the Democrats work for the policies that they do, is because They need the minorities in the cities to vote for them so that they could maintain control, because they are a critical voting bloc in those cities. In the entire country, they are a small minority. But in order for the Democrats to maintain control in their city, the ivory tower liberals at the top of the ivory tower, they have to control all of the dumb people at the bottom of the pyramid, because that's the way it works in the ivory tower pyramid. To go up to the top of the ivory tower, you must get a really good degree, or you must have family wealth, or you just must be incredibly lucky and roll the die. So what happens is the majority of the people at the bottom of the pyramid have very low GPAs, and then the people up at the top of the pyramid, they have good degrees and good grades, and you think that the Democrats are smart, but in reality, it's actually just a really, really, really shady power structure. If you would like to know more about this, on the last episode of Real Simple News with Coffee, I went into detail about this. That was on September 11th, 2020, issue number 103. realsimplenews.net/issue 103. Let's see, I've beaten this story to death. This guy's an idiot. I can't condone anything like that. I can't endorse it. I definitely condemn any sort of activities where you're targeting people for assassination and justifying murder of police officers who are just innocent people who just want to go home at the end of the day to their families, and then you're targeting them for assassination. Why shouldn't we get a massive militia together? There's no reason why we shouldn't be gathering up the 88% of guns that are in the hands of white people and then having a huge militia to protect us, because obviously these people are targeting us for assassination. So why should we not do that? It's our Second Amendment right to do that. And they're like, oh, now the far right is rising up to fight us. So now the Black Looter Mob needs to use their BLM scam donations to buy weapons and armor. All those millions of dollars. I think they've raised over $1 billion so far. I can't remember how much they raised, but it's insane. Like George Floyd, the guy who died of the fentanyl overdose, his brother got $14 million out of that. That's just one person out of this. Like Black BLM foundations raised over hundreds of millions of dollars, as well as the other one that was legit, that was helping to bring the Black community and the police together. And then they have all these other independent scam donations on sites like MoveOn.org, Change.org, and Fundly, where they're doing petitions and then doing scam donations on those petitions. And rumor has it that they're buying weapons and body armor with the donations. If you have any evidence to prove that, we haven't seen evidence to prove it. It's just a rumor. Here's another video of the...
Today with exclusive new details in the shooting of 2 LA cops and the hero deputy mom who saved her partner's life after they were ambushed by a lone gunman and shot them and then radio for help.
Exclusively reveal Dar at her 24-year-old partner to safety, apply a tourniquet, and call for help. Now, 2 private donors have upped the reward for any information on the person responsible for the shooting to $175,000, and that...
I hope that they catch him. That's just whack. That's Compton for you. What else we got here? I'm going to watch this clip twice just because I want to put it on 2 videos here. Here's a...
We do not win if we sit back and we wait for November. We do not win if we rely on an election that this regime is telling you they will not respect, that they are telling you we do not win if we sit back and we wait for November.
See, most people think that Nazis weren't liberals because they didn't believe it, they wanted to compete for the top slot, but it's actually false. Nazis were actually first wave feminists. Women won their voting rights in Germany in 1918, and they got them from the fascists. Fascists fought for reduced voting age to 18 plus with women's suffrage. They wanted reduced retirement age, minimum wage, forget some other things. They were pretty lib. And then whenever women got their voting rights in Germany, they elected Adolf Hitler, and they like Nazism because at that time people were really poor because of World War I, and the Jews were good business people, and they would only share with their in-group like most people do, and people blamed them for all their problems, and so they knew that most people wouldn't agree with the authoritarianism, so they believed in a dictator because the dictator was the only way that they would be able to get the equality that they wanted. So they thought they didn't have equality. So because the Jews were getting it through their heritage, through their genetic, or their family was giving them money like normal people. So they wanted to compete for it. So you think that they're not liberal because they want a dictator, but it's just like this woman. This woman is a lib, and she's advocating against democracy because she thinks that there's a big enough threat that we have to subvert the ballot box and democracy. And this is exactly what the Nazis did. They wanted a fair world where they could compete for it rather than just having it given to them by family and religious, their church. So they thought it would be more equal if they competed for it. This is why people supported the Nazis. Vast majority of people have never read Mein Kampf, and they don't know what it actually is. They just think Nazism is bad because they killed the Jews and because they were anti-Semitic. That's not. Anti-Semitism actually wasn't really part of Nazism. It was the German Nazis were anti-Semitic, but Nazism as a whole was a form of government that was independent of the Jews. They just used the Jews as a scapegoat for all of their problems. And then they turned into genocidal maniacs, trying to keep their top slot, their number one slot. That's why Nazism is bad, is because it's a strongman, ultra ethno-nationalism competition to see who is the biggest genocidal maniac. And actually Stalin won. Hitler lost. On that, Stalin won by a landslide. By far and away, the most genocidal maniac that the world has seen. Even more of a genocidal maniac than Mao Zedong. And that says a lot. But people like these dictators because they really, they find that they like this person, and that it fits their narrative, and they hate the other group of people enough to where they think this person is the solution. And this is why the left is so dangerous right now, is because they believe in this critical race theory and in the doctrine of diversity, and they really do think that the white man, like people like me, are holding down the minorities in the big cities, in the big Democratic-run shitholes, and that it's people like me who are underpaying the women, who are oppressing all the women. And it is actually true. I am the one who is oppressing all of the women. It is me. Yes, you did not know. I've been oppressing all the women. And it's because they ain't getting no good dick. So they always use a scapegoat. They have to use a scapegoat because if the person was actually there, they would say, no, this is nonsense. So the scapegoat always has to be somebody who's outside and will never actually come in to correct the misinformation. This is the hallmark of authoritarianism. This is how it starts. It starts World War II didn't start out with the Germans being horrible, detestable people. It started out with the Germans being good people and there being a lot of horrible, detestable people in the world. And then it turned into them being angry, to them being killing some people, to them being lawless, to them being in a gigantic war, to them being genocidal maniacs. Right? There's a logical progression that you go from a nice, caring liberal into a psychopathic serial killer. And it's very common. In fact, we actually have another story here I'm going to get through this as fast as I can because we have a lot of stories to cover here.